La Cosa Nostra has issued an ultimatum to the government of Italy. It's one that threatens war unless their demands are met. So why is the Italian government being forced into this corner? What do they want? And how will they respond if they don't get what they're asking for? Welcome back, everybody. It's me. Let's take a look at some breaking news coming out of Italy right now. The Italian Mafia, known as La Cosa Nostra, has issued a final warning to the government of Italy. If their demands aren't met by March 28th, then there's going to be hell to pay. They are basically saying that they are ready to go to war with the government if their demands aren't met. But what exactly are these demands? More importantly, how serious should we be taking them? Because after all, this is the Mafia we're talking about here. This is a group that made its money through threats, intimidation, violence, murder, racketeering, extortion, things like that. They make their money on fear. So is there any reason to actually be afraid of what they could potentially do? Let's take a deeper dive into this story and find out. But first, if you think the Mafia sounds scary, wait until you hear about the secret organization that even the FBI fears. Now back to it. The threat was issued by one of the most powerful families in the Sicilian Mafia, known as the Inzari crime family. One of their top members, a man who goes by the name of Matteo Messina Denaro, gave an interview recently where he said the following. He said, "If by March 28th, the government does not meet our demands, then we'll go to war." Matteo Messina Denaro is one of the highest ranking members in the Inzari family, and he's also been referred to as the Swine because apparently that S his nickname. He also happens to be a fugitive from the law and has been hiding ever since the early 90s when he became a made man in the family. He's wanted for multiple murders, attempted murders, drug trafficking, possession of illegal weapons, and criminal conspiracy. So basically, he's no angel. When asked directly if this meant that there would be a violent uprising against the Italian government, he simply responded, "You can understand very well what this means." And so this statement was taken as the Mafia giving an ultimatum to the Italian government. Now, this isn't the first time that the Mafia has threatened the government of Italy. Back in the late 80s, early 90s, there was a massive crackdown on the Mafia that resulted in thousands of arrests and hundreds of Mafia members going to prison. In response to this, the Mafia launched a violent campaign against the government, killing dozens of police officers, judges, prosecutors, and anyone else that they felt was trying to bring them down. This went on for several years, but eventually the government won the war against the Mafia. However, many people believe that the government may be losing the war against the Mafia once again, because in recent years, the number of Mafia-related crimes have been increasing. And there have even been a few cases of Mafia bosses being released from prison early due to good behavior, which has obviously outraged many people. Not only did the government release these criminals early, but they were given hefty payouts, which was seen as a reward for engaging in criminal activity. Well, the Mafia seems to be using this as leverage. The main demand of this ultimatum is the abolishment of the so-called 41 bis prison regime. Now, you might be wondering what the 41 bis prison regime actually is. And essentially, it's a set of rules and regulations that are put in place to isolate prisoners that are considered dangerous to society. These prisoners are kept in solitary confinement for 22 hours a day, only allowed out for 1 hour of exercise. They're not allowed to have any contact visits from family or friends. All visits must be done through a glass partition. They're not allowed to have any phone calls or letters. They're also not allowed to watch TV or radio. They're basically kept in complete isolation to break them and to prevent them from being able to communicate with the outside world. Now, you might be thinking this sounds absolutely awful. Why would anyone want to be a part of a group that treats people this way? That's a great question. You see, the Mafia sees these extreme prison conditions as a badge of honor. It shows that they are willing to go to any lengths to protect their members, and it serves as a warning to anyone who might want to cross them. The government of Italy has used these extreme measures to lock up some of the most dangerous criminals in the country, including members of the Mafia, the Camorra, the 'Ndrangheta, and the Sacra Corona Unita. But now the Mafia is threatening to start a war unless these rules are changed. The second demand of the Mafia is the release of all Mafia members that are currently serving life sentences. There are currently around 300 Mafia members in Italian prisons, serving life sentences for crimes such as murder, extortion, and drug trafficking. However, the Mafia wants them all released immediately, regardless of the severity of their crimes. The third and final demand is the withdrawal of all Italian troops from Afghanistan. The Mafia believes that the Italian government has no right to be involved in the conflict in Afghanistan, and they want the troops brought home immediately. So those are the three demands of the Mafia. If the government doesn't agree to them, then they're going to start a war. But how seriously should we be taking these threats? After all, this is the Mafia we're talking about here. A group that has made its entire fortune off of threats, extortion, and violence. The thing with the Mafia is that you can never be too sure what they do next. They have a long history of being unpredictable, and their actions can often be traced back to their which is a code of silence that they swear to uphold. This makes it difficult to know what they're planning, because they not going to talk to the police or the media about it. Instead, they prefer to act and then demand explanations afterwards. The Italian government has already rejected the demands of the Mafia, and they've made it clear that they will not be giving in to these demands. The Prime Minister of Italy, Mario Draghi, said the following: "We will not negotiate with criminals." This is a bold statement from the Prime Minister, and it shows that he's not afraid of the Mafia. However, it remains to be seen whether or not the government is actually willing to follow through on these threats. There are some people that are taking these threats seriously, and there are protests happening across Italy in response to the ultimatum that was issued by the Mafia. People are calling for the government to resign and for new elections to be held. There are even some people that are arming themselves in preparation for the so-called Mafia war. However, most people are writing this off as just another one of the Mafia attempts to gain power and control over the government of Italy. The reality is that the Mafia has been a part of Italian society for centuries, and they have a deep-rooted history in the country. They have infiltrated every level of Italian society, and they have a strong network of informants and supporters. Even if the government is able to crack down on the Mafia and bring down some of their top members, there will always be someone else waiting in the wings to take their place. The fight against the Mafia is a never-ending battle, and it will require the cooperation of everyone in Italian society to win. But what do you guys think? How seriously should we be taking the threats of the Mafia? Do you think that the Italian government is going to cave to their demands, or are they going to stand firm? Let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoyed this video, then make sure to like and subscribe. And as always, thank you so much for watching.